That's my favourite out of the two though, to be fair. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel CCUK Resin, and I'm quite excited by this one. So Resiners have sent me their double-sided UV resin light, and I've been waiting to try this because it's USB charged, so you can move it literally anywhere. So let's say I've got a giant piece curing here. I can use this on my living room table in the evening if I want to. So I thought, what am I going to test it with? So first of all, let's unbox it and see what we've got. Then I think we're going to make some charming UV pendants is the plan. So here we go. What do we get in the box? Always well packaged, as everything is with Resiners. And don't forget, guys, if you want one of these or anything else from Resiners, go to resiners.com, use my discount code CCUK and get yourself some money off. So they're pretty cool. Look at that. Get your own little shades with them, which is obviously to protect your eyes from the UV light, but I like that. And that's something I don't think I've seen before in a kit, actually. So that's quite interesting. Looks like you get a screwdriver and a USB cord. And then let's get the unit out and let's have a look. And I'm hoping it's going to be a simple unit to use. Everything I've had so far is. And there we go, 12-month warranty card as well, as with everything from Resiners. And then your little tray. So let's get rid of the packaging and let's get on with testing it, shall we? So you've got to peel this protective cover off. Now this is the bit I normally have trouble with because I don't have nails because I'm not a lady. There we go. So that's one side and there's always a second side. Well, that was pretty straightforward. So I'm pretty happy with that. So that is just the clear, transparent acrylic sheet for us to put down. I think that's as sort of a tray. So let's get rid of that. I'm hoping it's come charged. Otherwise, I'm going to have to stop the video and charge it up. Look at this, though. This looks snazzy, doesn't it? And look at this. You can move it different heights. And it's very stable. Look at that. Or I've seen some people that have just used it like that, which I don't know. I don't think I would. I think I would want it on its base. But I'm liking that so far. I don't know what the screwdriver's for, actually. Maybe it's to tighten something up if you wanted to. I don't know, because it looks to me like the base will just rest on there. And it's double-sided. Look at that. That's pretty straightforward. And then you can move it around. Let's have a look. And I may need to charge this, guys. Oh, no, it works. And there we go, both sides straight away. So it'll be curing from both sides, which is pretty important when it comes to UV because it just makes it safer. But I'm liking that. That looks pretty snazzy. You've got a 2-minute. There's a 5-minute option and an 8-minute option as well. Switching it off. Switch it back on. And I'm guessing just by leaving your finger on the minute section, it should go up. There we go. I was doing it too hard. So there we go. 2, 5, and 8 minutes. So it's pretty straightforward, that. Out of the box, it seems to work. And can I fit the bits I want on? Yes, I can. So that is great. So switch it off for now because I don't want to waste it. And I think the screwdriver is just to tighten this if you want to, if you don't want it as loose. So you see that? That's quite loose. So all you need to do, if you wanted to, is just tighten the screw in there. I don't actually want to because for this experiment, I'm just gonna have it like that, I think. I think that should work perfect. So let's get on with the experiment. And do you know what? It doesn't take up a lot of space, this. And those of you that watch the channel know I've got the G3 curing machine, which has one inbuilt, but this will be ideal for just smaller projects. Or what about if you want to do a bigger object on its side? Look at that, it'll fit perfectly between those. So again, I think it's a good idea. I think it's a good design. And I'm going to show you now, actually, because I think it deliberately comes a little bit loose, but this is what this is for, I'm guessing. Just to tighten that up and make it a little bit firmer if you want to. There we go. So I've just given it half a turn with the screwdriver, and that now has stopped it flopping. And it stays in position. So that, I think, is what that's for without reading the instructions. But those of you that watch the channel know that I don't read the instructions very often. So let's get on with this. So here we go, guys. Let's make a couple of these beautiful little pendants, hopefully. And I'm just picking out the charms that I want for this. I'm going to use a cross, I think, as one of them. And what else have we got? Stands out. I really like this hand, actually. So let's just... Oh, that leaf has got some really good detail as well. Let's stick with, I think, those two for now. And 2027. Look, Temu's getting into the future. So let's go with, I think, this leaf, and let's go with the cross. Let's just do a couple. Let's not go overboard. Oh, hello. That's a nicer cross. I prefer that one. So let's go with these two charms, and let's hope this works. So, And some of them you could probably fit two in, but I'm not gonna for this. I just want it to be dead straightforward, dead simple, and a cool little project. So let's put these charms away. Don't want to lose them because I can use those in future projects. And then we're just going to use the small heart on a standard jewelry mold, which most of you have probably got. This one here, going to use those ones there. And I'm going to get gloved up before doing this, but these charms, obviously you don't want this looping at the top. It's dead straightforward. Get yourself some snips and snip it off. It will fly everywhere though, so be warned. And just get it as close to perfect as you can. There we go, I'm happy with that. That's the cross. Make sure it does at an angle. And now for the leaf. You will get little bits of metal everywhere, so just be careful. And then that's the leaf that's just going to go in that one. So we're just going to do the two. I'm going to go get gloved up, and then we're going to put this lamp to the test. Always remember that PPE when you work with resin. So here we go. And I'm just going to try and make two really cute little charms or pendants so that I can start, hopefully, stocking my shop is the plan. So here we go. First thing I want to do is just a thin layer of the UV resin on its own in each of these charms, well, these cabochon molds. And I'm going to leave it to just settle. I have got a tiny bit of sunlight coming into the room, which does worry me a little bit. So I'm going to have to get a shifty on. Anything that's sort of gone down to, you see that bubble there? Tease it to the top and we'll be able to get that with a torch or something like that. But you don't want bubbles in there if you can avoid them. And you do want it to completely go around that heart. So you've got that shape before you go on to the next stage, which is going to be putting these charms in. So let's move those out of the way for now. He says, if you can. And then I can just see there's a tiny bubble on that one. It's gone. So are they. So there we go. Those bubbles have now gone. Let's get the tray for the lamp and let's just cure this first layer for a couple of minutes. That's all. And that should be completely cured because it is curing it from both sides at the same time. But I'm just going to let it settle for a second as well. And then just have a look underneath, making sure that I've got that thin layer all the way around. And hopefully I haven't introduced any bubbles. There we go. I'm pretty confident that will have cured, even though it's not been the full 2 minutes. So that is our first layer. And this is going to be a layered process, guys. So I'm going to try and do it in 3 if we can get away with it. So I've just cured that layer in. Now I need to position charms where I want them. And this is really important. So actually with this, I'm going to do it actually on the base. And look at me, I've been playing with this a little bit. So this is actually the 3rd experiment I'm doing. And I've already got a little bit of black resin on, which is not great. So apologies, resiners. I am going to clean it with some alcohol after this experiment though. So here we go. Let's get the charm. Let's get it the right way around as well. Whichever way you want. And I think this cross would look cool I think that way around. Yep. And then the leaf as well. So all I'm going to do now is put charms where I want them. Make sure they fit. And don't forget, you're going to need to drill a hole in these as well at some point. So just bear that in mind with your design. I'm happy with that. In fact, is that the right way around? So hard to tell with some of these charms, and they can be a pain to pick back up. I think it is. And then you probably guessed what's going to happen now. So it's another layer of UV resin. But this one, I don't want to be as cured. I am going around the whole piece. I want a thin layer of that UV resin just to encase this charm. I'm still leaving a bit of space at the back as well, because we are going to back these as well after this layer, which is the bit where it can be quite tricky if you want to use a dark color. Now, one of the things I have been experimenting with is alcohol ink to create the black. And I know that you can get black UV resins on the market. I don't have any, so I'm just going to go with what I've got. So that is pretty much what I want. I'm just having a now see if there's any bubbles. Hopefully there isn't, but there will always be some. Just lift them to the surface, especially since you've just inserted this in. And then again, very quick torch from a height. Try not to get too close to the sides of your mold. And then I'm just going to cure this for 10 seconds, he says. There. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now, hopefully that won't have completely cured and it will still be a little bit tacky. So I'm going to use some tiny turners for this, I think. I'm going to use Inferno for one of them. So just a tiny bit on the end of my brush. In fact, I'm probably going to do that a little touch more because I don't think it's cured enough. So let's give it another 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And this is just experimenting because different resins cure at different times. And as I say, you want it to get to that just tacky stage. There, that's better. You see what I mean? It's still tacky, but it's not liquid anymore. And that should now work. So again, just a tiny bit of this powder going all the way around. Might need a tiny bit more actually, because these powders work better. The more you burnish them in, the more color you get. And I want to make sure that I'm burnishing the whole cabochon mold all the way around. Doesn't take a lot of powder, but the more time you take just burnishing it in, the better. Pretty happy. That one is now fully burnished in. So there we go. With this particular lamp, this particular resin, it ended up being 20 seconds to get it to that tacky stage. And as you can see, it's adhering quite nicely at this point. So that's the first one. Second one, I'm going to use a holographic one, and I've got an indigo green fleck holographic tiny turner powder. So again, same thing. I'm just going to use a dab of it like so, and then burnish it round. Probably don't even need that much, guys. But again, I want to cover the whole surface, making sure that it's all been burnished in, and you've got that even coverage all the way around the piece. Now, these really pop with a black. So that is what I'm going to try and attempt to do. And I'll be honest with you guys, I've just done this experiment once before and got a globby mess because I put 2 drops of the alcohol ink in that I'm going to be using rather than 1. So I'm going to try it with 1 this time and hopefully it's going to work. So in fact, should I just use my black pink? No, I'm not. I'm going to use what I said I was going to use, which it has worked for me before. So I want to make sure that if I'm telling you guys it works. So again, I'm going to fill these all the way to the top. So I need some UV resin in here. I think that's probably too much, so I might have to make some more of these. What a shame. And then what I've been playing with is these bloom drops, Charcoal Storm, and it has worked a treat in the past, but I think the key is don't put too much in. 1 drop is all I'm going to use this time, and hopefully it's going to work. 1 drop. Again, not very scientific of me, I know. And then we're going to do it in layers. So I just want to drop on there, and it is a beautiful rich black. And then I'm going to do a drop in the other one as well. And it does take a little bit of time and patience, but hopefully the result will be worth it in the end. So again, I just want that thin layer first. And it is quite a dark black, so this might not cure, guys. Again, hopefully it will. There we go. That is literally a drop in each of those. let's cure it for, I don't know, let's go with just 2 minutes since we're doing it in layers. And hopefully we'll have more of a success this time. There we go. Now that looks cured to me. Let's put one more drop in and then let's give it 5 minutes. So again, just one more drop of the black UV resin that we've just made going in for each of these. And the key is not to overdo it, because the more you put in, the harder it's going to be for it to cure. And I think this will be the final layer for me. So just these 2 layers going on. And then I'm going to finish the whole thing in just another layer of clear, just to make sure we've got it all the way to the top. But as with anything in resin, if you take your time, you're going to get a better product. Again, I'm just going around these edges as well, making sure that they're all covered in this black. And leave it to settle for a second. And then we're going to cure it for the full 5 minutes this time. And hopefully then it will be cured. Here we go. And it's not picking up my finger because of the glove. I don't know why there's 3 different variations of the light as well when you do this. I'm going to read the instructions in a minute, because that isn't both. That's one side or the other. And then that's both. So that's interesting. If you push the power button on this light unit, you can either have one side, the other side, or both sides. So just bear that in mind when you're curing things. And here we go, guys. And that feels pretty well cured to me. So now all I'm going to do is just completely top these up with clear and give it another 5 minutes. And I think then we'll have beautiful pieces to demold. And this is just to make sure that the cabochon is completely full and it almost domes it slightly, which is what I want. And then it's going to give it another 5 minutes, and then we're going to water cure these. I can just see a bubble there, so I want to get rid of them. I think I've got one in that second layer there, but that's okay. I can live with that. But I do need, and I've just taken my glove off, but I've just noticed this isn't completely spread to the edge, so I want to make sure that it is now. Just using my tool, going all the way around. So, and then we're going to give it 5 minutes. And I'll probably end up water curing these as well, just to be extra cautious, and then we'll be done. So here we go, guys, and I'm pretty confident that should now be cured. But those of you that work with UV resin know sometimes you get that stickiness, which we don't want. That's beautiful and glossy and shiny, which is just what I wanted. And now, all I'm going to do, take the tray off, and with this unit, I should be able to just put it on its side, hopefully. That is just water, H2O, and I'm going to demold straight into these and give it another couple of minutes, just water curing them. And we'll see what we've got. Hopefully they've worked. Hopefully the black's cured. Hopefully we'll have some beautiful pieces, but we won't know until after this quick water curing exercise. So here we go. And this is all I do, is just move them around a bit in the water and then let it cure for another couple of minutes. And I think I should have fully charged this before working with it, because it's just tight on me. So there's a top tip. If you're unboxing this, make sure you fully charge it, because I didn't. But the great thing is as well, to water cure it, you don't have to do it on its side. I think you can just stand a cup there. But I think that is what has happened. I've been playing with this for a couple of hours because I've just got it. And I think the charge is gone after a few hours, but that's probably because it wasn't fully charged when I received it. But all in all, I'm liking this. I'm going to be playing around with it a lot more and seeing what effects I can get. And I love the fact that this is completely adjustable however you want. And look at that. That doesn't take up a lot of space at all. So I'm going to fully charge this, and then we're going to have a look at these and see what we've got. So here we go, guys, just drying them off. And hopefully we've got 2 beautiful little cabochons that we can put on a pendant. Wow, look at that. I love that. Let's see if I can get your focus. Look at that, beautiful. Just with those tiny turners, the 3D element of the magnification of the cabochon and that little charm inside. So that one's turned out really cool. And I think the cross has as well. Let me know what you think. Absolutely beautiful. So now obviously you can't really wear these at the minute, so I need to turn them into actual pendants. And I'm pretty confident that it's all fully cured, that black's cured. So now what I'm going to have to do is just put a tiny hole in them to put the pinch bells through. So what I'm going to do is I like to just get a drawing pin and mark out a little bit of pressure, so that when I come in with the drill piece, hopefully I can find that little dot that I've just put in, and it's not going to go all over the place. So I'm putting a bit of pressure down, and hopefully this is going to go Not like that. I want it all the way through. I'm pretty confident that is now through. That's one. And then this one, I'm just going to go straight in. I think, there we go. I think that's through. Just going to double check with that one. Yep, that is through. There we go. And I'm going to wipe off the excess because you don't want any of the bits of fluff around it. And I think might have got away with it actually. I thought I'd scratched the surface of that one, but I might have just got away with it. And then what I like to do is just grab some pinch bales. What I might do actually is just spray these with a tiny bit of alcohol. Just make sure I've got rid of all of the dust before I go on with this next bit. There we go. So you can see I've just got a hole right next to the cross on that one. And then on this one, it's pretty central. I'm pretty happy with that. So now I'm just going to get the pinch bales. I think these ones will look pretty cool. Standard silverish look pinch bales. There we go. So you've got to open them. And this one's gone a bit wonky already, which I don't really like, but hey ho. I think once it's open, we'll be good. So there we go. And I want to make sure that it's open enough that I can actually fit it in there easily and then just close it. And that should be okay. And then this one as well. Now what I like to do as well is just as an extra precaution, is just get a tiny bit of UV resin on the end of where it goes into the piece. Literally a little dot. So on both sides, not a lot, but just enough to go on those. And then what we're going to do is try and find the back first. Just there, put it in, keep my finger on there whilst pushing the front down, making sure I'm reasonably happy with where it is, which I am, and making sure I've got it the right way around, which on these ones, it doesn't really matter. So that's okay. And that will be our finished look. But all I'm going to do, now it's in position, just using my little UV torch, curing that tiny bit of UV resin on as well. That's one. And then the other one, exactly the same, tiny bit of UV resin onto each of those little metal rods. There's probably a proper name for them. I don't know it. And then I'm going to position the back hole first and then the front. And this one's slightly off center, but I think it will still be okay. Then apply a little bit of pressure to make sure it's closed. And then I'm going to torch it. And that just makes me feel more confident that the UV resin will have cured and that ain't going anywhere as a pinch bale. And then it's up to you what you use as a chain. But I think for these smaller pieces that aren't going to be overly expensive in a shop or something like that, I just like these leather chains that you get. So let's see what they look like as a finished product, shall we? It's always the tricky bit, feeding this bit through. So there's one. And I think that looks really cool, to be fair, for a quick 20-30 minute project just to test out this new UV lamp, which I'm really happy with, by the way. I think it's a good lamp. I think I'm going to be using it a lot. So don't forget, if you want one, get over to resiners.com and use the discount code CCUK. Get yourself money off. And if you've liked this experiment, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel. Costs you nothing, but it helps the channel know out. I think that's my favorite out of the two, though, to be fair. What do you think? Would you wear it? I think it's a stunning piece. Now, let's see if I can get you zoomed in a little bit. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful. But let me know what you think. I've enjoyed making them. And I think they're cool little pieces. Not perfect, but I think it shows the handmade. And I think they've come out absolutely beautiful. Let me know what you think. And I'll see you on the next video.